Look at Rocky. Seriously, look at him. I've been watching this dog for years in the Hebei mud, and I still can't decide if he's the bravest soul in China or just the biggest intellectual failure in the shelter. Rocky, buddy, I hate to be the one to tell you, but your era didn't just end. It was cremated. Why can't this dog accept that he's officially washed up? Every time he catches a glimpse of King Charles, he acts like he still has a seat at the table. He doesn't. King Charles didn't just take your throne, Rocky. He took your dignity and turned it into a floor mat. Yet, here he is, consistently inviting a beatdown from KC and his enforcers like he's collecting loyalty points for a hospital visit. What is it about this specific dog that makes him addicted to his own destruction? Is it a soul bond to a lost legacy, or just a biological glitch in his pride? Today, we're dissecting the anatomy of a fallen king. Welcome to the Pawble autopsy of Rocky's ego. Hope you brought a shovel. Rocky is suffering from a terminal case of legacy blindness. In his head, he's still the dog that once commanded respect in the Hebei yard, but in reality, he's a target practice for King Charles's generals. This is a classic example of cognitive dissonance in the canine brain. He remembers the feeling of power, but his body can no longer cash the checks his ego is writing. Every time he stands up to KC, he's not fighting the current king. He's trying to fight the fact that time has moved on without him. He looks in the mirror and sees a lion, but the rest of the pack sees a mangy cat with a death wish. When you don't know your rank has dropped to 0, you become a danger to yourself. Rocky is living in a 2022 highlight reel, while everyone else is playing the 2026 reality. It's not just sad, it's strategically offensive. He's choosing to be a hero in his own mind while being a victim in the dirt. That's not leadership, it's a mental breakdown. Watch how King Charles handles him. It's surgical. KC doesn't waste energy on a dog he's already beaten mentally. When Rocky barks, KC doesn't just react like a common street dog. He assesses. He waits for Rocky to overextend his fake authority, and then he shuts it down with a precision that would make a surgeon blush. King Charles isn't just biting Rocky, he's erasing him from the social order. KC's enforcers move in like a tactical unit because the king has already set the tone. Rocky is no longer a peer, he's a nuisance. In the US, we talk about cancel culture, but in Hebei, King Charles invented physical cancellation. He allows Rocky to breathe just enough to remember that he's irrelevant. Every scar on Rocky's face is a signature from King Charles, reminding the entire shelter that the old world is dead. KC doesn't hate Rocky, he just finds his existence technically inconvenient. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the coldest form of dominance there is. In dog psychology, submission is a survival ritual. You tuck the tail, you show the belly, and the fight ends. It's a neural handshake that says, you win, I live. But Rocky? He's allergic to the ritual. He would rather have his throat open than tuck his tail for 3 seconds. Why? Because Rocky believes that the moment he submits, he truly dies. He's chosen a path of perpetual conflict. To Rocky, the pain of the bite is temporary, but the shame of bowing to King Charles is a life sentence. This is the ultimate glitch in the social order. Most dogs are smart enough to realize that rank is fluid. Rocky thinks rank is a birthright. He's fighting a war that ended 3 years ago. By refusing to submit, he's not showing alpha strength, he's showing strategic incompetence. He's turned himself into a permanent target. In a world of predators, if you aren't the king and you won't be a follower, you're just lunch. When King Charles gets bored of Rocky's barking, he sends in the generals. Enter Thorm. If KC is the architect, Thorm is the demolition crew. Thorm doesn't have a history with Rocky. He doesn't care about the old days. To Thorm, Rocky is just an obstacle that's annoying his king. Watch how Thorm engages. It's violent, it's fast, and it's meant to humiliate. Every time Thorm puts Rocky in the mud, he's reinforcing the new social order. He's telling Rocky, you aren't even worth the king's time. This is the part of the story that most dog lovers can't stomach. They see a dog getting bullied. I see a general maintaining the stability of the pack. If Rocky would just accept his place in the shadow, Thorm wouldn't touch him. But Rocky keeps poking the bear, forgetting that the bear has a younger, faster brother with bigger teeth. Rocky is paying a pride tax every single day, and the currency is his own blood.
Rocky's biology is literally screaming at him to stop. His cortisol levels must be through the roof. Chronic stress and a fallen alpha leads to a total system failure. He's tired, he's slower, and his recovery time is non-existent. Yet the amygdala, the fear and survival center of his brain, is stuck in warrior mode. He's trapped in a feedback loop of trauma and defiance. In the US, we see people like this all the time, the guys who can't let go of high school glory. Rocky is the canine version of Uncle Rico. He's convinced himself that one more fight, one more bark, and the shelter will suddenly realize their mistake and put him back on top. It's a biological tragedy. His body is falling apart, but his brain is still trying to lead a pack that has already moved on. This is what happens when your alpha drive becomes a terminal illness. He's not living, he's just refusing to be finished. It's a slow-motion biological suicide. The worst part for Rocky isn't the bites, it's the indifference. Look at the younger dogs in the Hebei Shelter. They don't look at Rocky with respect. They look at him as a warning. He's the crazy old man of the yard. The pack has already replaced him. King Charles has brought in a new era of stability that the pack actually prefers. KC doesn't rule with the chaotic ego that Rocky probably had. He rules with cold, calculated order. The pack isn't mourning Rocky's loss of power. They're celebrating the silence that KC brought. This is the brutal truth of the hierarchy. No one is indispensable. The moment you stop being useful to the order, you become a ghost. Rocky is still trying to haunt a house that's already been renovated. He's a relic in a world that values results over history. If you aren't evolving, you're just taking up space. And in the shelter, space is a luxury Rocky can no longer afford. I see the comments, poor Rocky, he's so brave. Stop it. You're projecting your human underdog fantasies onto a biological disaster. In the wild, Rocky wouldn't be a hero, he'd be a carcass. By feeling sorry for him, you're disrespecting the reality of the social order. Rocky isn't fighting for his rights, he's failing to adapt to his environment. This Disney-fied view of dog behavior is why so many people get it wrong. You want to see a soul bond or a revenge arc. I see a dog who is too intellectually rigid to survive his own ego. If you were a real friend to Rocky, you wouldn't cheer for his bravery, you'd wish for his submission. Submission is what keeps him alive. Your sympathy is just fueling the fire of his destruction. In the Pawble world, we value the survival of the pack over the ego of the individual. King Charles is the solution. Rocky is the problem that refuses to be solved. So what's the lesson here? Rocky is a case study in tactical hubris. He teaches us that the hardest part of power isn't getting it, it's losing it with dignity. If Rocky had the intelligence to accept his new rank, he could live out his days as a respected elder, a peer that even KC would treat with caution. But because he demands the throne or nothing, he gets nothing. Real leadership requires the ability to transition. When the environment changes, the alpha must change or be destroyed. Rocky is the biological proof that alpha isn't just a rank, it's a mindset of adaptability. If you can't adapt to being a number 2, you'll never truly understand what it meant to be number 1. Rocky is a warning to every leader out there. Your era will end. The only question is, will you bow with grace or will you be dragged into the mud by the next generation? Rocky chose the mud. Don't be like Rocky. In the Pawble world, we value the survival of the pack over the ego of the individual. King Charles is the solution. Rocky is the problem that refuses to be solved. So what's the lesson here? Rocky is a case study in tactical hubris. He teaches us that the hardest part of power isn't getting it, it's losing it with dignity. If Rocky had the intelligence to accept his new rank, he could live out his days as a respected elder, a peer that even KC would treat with caution. But because he demands the throne or nothing, he gets nothing.